Okay. So I think everything's live now. I'm just going to wait until everybody comes on. Okay. Just waiting for everyone to come on. So hi, everybody. As you come on, let me know who's on with me. This is Carla Metzdorf. I am an anxiety coach, and I'm also admin to the group Overcoming Anxiety for Stressed Out Moms Who Have Had Enough. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Lacey. Thank you for joining me today. As you come on, ladies, just say hi. Let me know who's on. We're going to be talking about health anxiety. Hey, Terry. Hey, Jazzy. How are you? Good to see you all today. Latanya, hi. Come on. As you come on, say hi. So good to have you on with me. Yeah, we're going to be talking about health anxiety. I know that's a big subject. That is truly a big subject. I just want to see who else is on with me on a different screen. Anxiety. I'm just going into the groove for a second. Don't mind me. Yeah, so I know this is a subject that a lot of us that really plagues a lot of us. Hi Caroline, I had health anxiety for many years. It started from the time I was a little girl, and it took over my life, so that when I finally was diagnosed with cancer when I was about 31 years old, it just opened up a Pandora's box, and my life was turned upside down. And that's where most of my anxiety came from my health, from health. So let's really dive into this. It sucks going through anxiety. I worry too much and I can't get over it. Well, Lacey, hopefully this live will shed some light on what you can do to get over it. And it's not so much about getting over it as it is to build confidence, resilience, because, stuff is going to happen in life. We're always going to have stress. There's always going to be some kind of threat to your health. As we get older, things like that happen, especially with stress, because stress really is not good for our health if it becomes chronic. So what we want to do is understand what we can do so that when things like this happen, we have that resilience. In other words, resilience is just how you deal, how you react to the stress. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for joining me. So I like to start all my trainings with a definition because I always want us to be on the same page. So health anxiety. I like to give very simple definitions. This is something that I am just, this is my definition. So health anxiety to me is the fear of sickness. Very plain, very sweet, very simple. So in other words, you don't like being sick. The thought of getting sick gives you anxiety. So you don't like having the sickness. You don't like being sick. And even the thought of your loved one being sick or getting sick, that just sends you, it just gives you a lot of anxiety. The excessive worry about, the what ifs. What if I get sick? What's going to happen? How am I going to cope? How am I going to deal? So, two things that I want to say before I really get into this. Number one, I want to put a trigger warning on this live, okay? Because I am going to be talking about sickness. And that is a trigger for so many of you. So if that is going to bother you, I just want you to know we're going to be talking about sickness, and I'm going to be mentioning things like death and dying. So just take that as a grain of salt, like get understand that that's going to be mentioned, and if that's going to trigger you, use this with discretion. The second thing I want to say is that instead of talking, disease, illness, conditions, disorder, I'm just going to say the word sickness. Sickness is a very general term that will mean everything. Okay. So when I say sickness, we're talking about anything and everything. It all falls under that umbrella, so to speak. Okay. So health anxiety, you may also know it as hypochondria. And I know I've been called that, you're such, a hypochondriac. You're always concerned. Hi, Ivy. You're always concerned about how you feel. You want to run to the doctor, right? So I don't like that term. And it's really not a term many people use anymore. So we went from hypochondriac to just having health anxiety. So we have a definition for health anxiety. So why? Why do we have this health anxiety? How did we get here? Well, there could be many reasons why you have developed this fear of being sick. It could have started with maybe well, first of all, the things that you heard and maybe the things that you saw when you were growing up. Perhaps, you had a loved one who was always sick. Maybe you lost somebody young, and or maybe you had to care for somebody who was very sick, very ill, or had passed. And the thing was also, what can really cause your health anxiety is, did you deal with a sickness or an illness from the time you were young, and maybe have a bad experience with it? So what if, let's say, like me, did you ever have a misdiagnosis? I had a misdiagnosis. So when you have a misdiagnosis, you lose trust, right? And that can make you fearful of dealing with doctors now and going to the hospital. Do I trust what they tell me, right? Or what can also give you health anxiety too is maybe you weren't misdiagnosed, but maybe one time you went to the doctor with something and you were dismissed. Maybe they weren't taking you seriously about what it was that you were going through. So ever since then, every time you go to the doctor, you just feel, well, they're not going to believe me. They're not going to take me seriously. And how do I know that they're going to treat me right? I'm just trying to think of other things. So, maybe, because you've had these experiences, you're so afraid this is what's going to happen to your children, to your loved ones. Is the doctor going to misdiagnose my children? Is the doctor also going to give the best care for my children, for my husband? We learn behaviors from past experiences. So something from the past, okay, our experience has put on this health anxiety, something with health. Maybe you watched a movie or read a book where you read or saw something that didn't sit well with you and put this fear in you, and you always thought, what if? And then you got sick, and the experience you had with the illness was just so traumatic, that you're just afraid of any sickness that comes your way. These are just all instances that can drive you to have a fear of some kind of sickness that you don't trust in being sick and the care that you might get. Hi Candy, how are you? So as you come on, continue to say hi. Let me know who's still on with me. And ladies, as I talk, if there's anything you want to add, please feel free to ask me any questions. I may not answer them until after I'm done. I'll do a Q&A afterwards, okay? But put it in the comments, and I will go through it again later. So how do you know if you have health anxiety? What tells you that, am I somebody who has health anxiety? I mean, just because, you have one instance of, oh, I'm really afraid to get my results, doesn't mean you have health anxiety, okay? But if you're constantly thinking about having or getting sick, that could be a sign that you have health anxiety. If you're worried about every little thing in your body, every time you feel a little pinch, a little ting, a little anything, you think the worst. Any little body symptom or sensation means something bad. Right away, you go right into that. Are you easily alarmed with anything that comes to health? I mean, all you have to do is put on the TV, watch a show that like a doctor's show or anything on health. They talk about a health issue, and all of a sudden that becomes you. Even if you are feeling good that day, all of a sudden you could take on those symptoms, or you'll worry, have I ever felt that symptom before? I think I did. Does that mean that I had that? Maybe I missed something, and you just spiral. Or maybe what also tells you that you're somebody with health anxiety is, again, that you're not trusting in the doctor. You go to the doctor, you don't trust anything the doctor says. He can give you tests and the tests come back fine, and you just don't believe it. You're convinced, always missing something. Doctor, you just don't trust in what the doctor is telling you. Or you're always checking your symptoms. Are you constantly checking your heart rate, your blood pressure? Are you, what else do you check? Because I was a checker of my heart rate. Always like, is it going above? Because I was told once when I was brought into the emergency room for a panic attack, I was at 180. And I was told, oh, that's not good. You need to calm down. And so ever since then, I was checking my heart rate. Is it good? Is it above 100? Like anytime my heart rate went up, what is it? What is it? And, blood pressure, I know it's another thing. Are you constantly checking your sugars? Now, if you're a diabetic, you should be checking your sugars. But there's a difference between checking it as routine or checking it chronically because you're obsessed. Anything obsessive, okay, can be a sign of having a health anxiety. Constantly, yes, searching the internet, going on Google, Googling your symptoms, your sensations, spending not 5 minutes, but hours literally on the internet, going into Facebook groups, asking other people, do you have this? Because this is what I feel. Do you have it too? And asking the doctors on Facebook, thinking that they are going to help you make you feel better about what you're feeling. And are you also somebody who is constantly talking to your family, to your friends about how you feel? Always. Like whenever you get together with your girlfriends, what are you talking about? When someone says, "How you doing?" Is it just, "Oh, well, I got this and I got that and I got this and I got that." You're always talking about how you feel. These can all be signs of health anxiety. All right. But I also want to put a little disclaimer in here. When you have health anxiety, okay, we're always focused on how we feel, right? Our symptoms. Now, I don't want this to be just, about symptoms. I have another live all about symptoms. I have a couple of them that you can seek out. But I never want you to ignore symptoms, okay? Symptoms they mean something. You never get a symptom for no reason, all right? So never ignore your symptoms. But because of our anxiety, if you have health anxiety, we make those symptoms more than what they really are. Just because your heart's racing, does it really mean you're having a heart attack? We put our fear, we put a story behind those symptoms, and we can make them worse than what they really are. So what can cause, again, our health anxiety? I gave a lot of things before of what, gives us, like, why we have health anxiety. But the thing is, when we get these symptoms, and if we get a lot of symptoms, okay, if we're somebody who lives in fear and we worry a lot and we don't have a lot of trust, we'll get a lot of symptoms. And especially if we're always under a lot of stress, okay, because that anxiety is just trying to tell you that you need to take better care of yourself. You need to slow down, practice self-care. And we're not listening to our bodies. Guess what's going to happen? We're going to get more symptoms. And when we get more symptoms, we start using our thinking that's going to make us doubt. Okay, the fear, we have doubt, and we start checking and we get obsessive, and then we go for tests after test after test, or we do the opposite. Our fear will keep us away from the doctor. Because, hey, if I don't go to the doctor, guess what? Nothing's wrong, right? So our fear is either going to drive us to the doctor. We're constantly going, constantly checking, because we need that confirmation, right? What's wrong? Is something wrong? Because we don't believe it. And then we'll go back and we'll go back until we get it in our heads, until we can start really understanding that what we're hearing, do we have confidence in what the doctor's saying? Or we're going to go the opposite way and not go to the doctor, because what if I go and something's wrong? What do I do then? What if I go and they want me to take all these tests? Can I take those tests? Am I going to be able to take those tests? I don't like taking MRIs or going for an X-ray, CAT scans, or I don't like needles, and I don't like, so we'll not go for tests. Can everybody relate to this? Who likes going to the doctor? Who's always at the doctor, and who doesn't go to the doctor? There's pros and cons to these. When you go to the doctor, okay, first of all, when there's actually a fear, a genuine fear, when you have a fear of the doctor, okay, that is called iatrophia, okay, the white coat syndrome, iatrophobia, white coat syndrome. And I think I had a touch of that. I always went, I did, because I needed that confirmation. But when I was there, my heart rate was like not through the roof, not through the roof, but it went up, and even my blood pressure would go up a little bit, right? Right? So, if you had medical traumas from the past, if you were dismissed, if you were misdiagnosed, going to the doctor can be a little traumatic. It really can be, and it can change things, you know? But listen, what happens if you don't go to the doctor? Now, when you don't go to the doctor, yeah, you're avoiding hearing anything bad, like you don't want to get bad results. And my husband always says, "Hey, if I don't go to the doctor, there's nothing wrong with me." Well, that's great. But what if something is wrong? What if something's wrong and you ignore it and you don't go to the doctor? All that's going to happen is make the situation worse. If you're getting symptoms, okay, and you're doubting whether it's anxiety or if it's some kind of sickness, you need to go to the doctor. If you ignore symptoms, you don't go to the doctor, and it's not your anxiety, things could get worse from there. I know it's frightening. I understand that you're scared. But there are things you could do to make time with the doctor a little bit more peaceful. So what you could do is you can schedule your appointment. Let's say when your anxiety is low, and when you go to the doctor, when you schedule the appointment, I don't know if you know the doctor well or not, but you may want to just let the doctor know, I have anxiety. The doctors are used to this. They know that you're anxious, okay? Tell the doctor, I have anxiety. So I have anxiety about coming to you. Let them know that. Be truthful with the doctor, okay? And if anything, bring a relative or a friend with you. Is there someone that you trust that you could bring with you that could hold your hand, that could comfort you in the waiting room? Or, sometimes when we're anxious, we don't focus, we don't pay attention, right? Which is why when I get together with you, I like to record everything, because I know that you're anxious and I know you're not really listening to everything that I say. So, when you do have anxiety, maybe bring somebody with you so that when the doctor talks, you don't have to be anxious about, did I hear everything right? Do I remember what the doctor said? What if I forgot what the doctor said? What if I don't understand what the doctor tells me? So this is another thing you could do to make your doctor visit just a little bit better, okay? So schedule at a time where there's lower anxiety. Bring a friend with you. Make sure the doctor knows that you struggle with this. Also, mentally prepare yourself ahead of time. Watch what you say to yourself. Watch how you talk to yourself. You can either empower yourself, or you can make things so far worse by what you're telling yourself. So choose maybe affirmations, words that just are going to make you feel better and empower you, that when I go, the doctor is going to be someone who's going to help me, who's going to help me understand what it is I'm feeling and what I'm going through. Okay? Try to see the doctor in a good light. And practice maybe some mindfulness where you're very present, and maybe picturing yourself in a really good peaceful place. Like, use some visualization which is a good tool to have. So you could bring yourself some comfort and peace before you get to the doctor, before you go to that appointment that you have so much anxiety about. The thing is, when you go to the doctor, the other thing you could do, and I tried doing this. I know the doctor likes to do your vitals, right? When you get there right away, let's take your blood pressure and your heart rate and everything, but you're anxious, right? So it's going to be off, right? So what you can do, I mean, it depends on the office that you're in. Maybe they have to take your vitals beforehand, but also ask, all right, now that I saw you, now that we talked, can we take those vitals again? Because it'll show you the difference, okay, of the anticipation of going to the doctor and how it affects you. And then once you see the doctor, once you get results, how things can calm down. And remember that there's always tools, okay? Breathing is excellent. Box breathing, there's 5-7-8, where you breathe in for 5, you hold for 7, and you blow out for 8. There's so many like breathing techniques you could do that can calm you down, okay, as you visit the doctor, as you go for procedures, all right? Take time to calm down the anxiety by using tools and how you talk to yourself, all right? So this is if you need to go to the doctor and you have great anxiety about it, okay? And if you don't go to the doctor, what can hopefully help you to get to the doctor is just having an understanding that not going to a doctor, not getting your symptoms checked, okay, can make things worse for you. Because what happens if you are sick and you need medical attention? Avoidance is not the answer, but using tools, strategies, techniques to calm the anxiety, talking to yourself in a much more empowering way so that you could get that medical care that you need. That's the way to go. So, like, why do you have this health anxiety? Like, we went over some things, but health anxiety, okay, anxiety in general, but we want to control, right? We want control of everything in our lives. We wish we could. I mean, if we could control everything, what would be the problem? Because anything that we wanted, we would just make sure it happened, right? But the fact is, we don't have control. We just don't. There's only so much you do have control of. Hi, Donna. How are you? Those things that you have control of, ladies, are your thoughts. And your thoughts will influence your emotions and how you feel. So if you want to change your emotions and how you feel, got to take care of the thoughts. And you have control of how you react. So when you have a sickness, how are you reacting towards that sickness? If you're reacting with fear, you're going to get a very negative experience. So if you are diagnosed with, say, like flu or COVID, cancer, some kind of illness, some kind of sickness, and the answer to that is just fear. How am I going to cope? How am I going to deal? I don't have what it takes. I can't do this. You're not going to have the best experience with it. Now, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I started off as a fighter because my attitude was, And attitude is everything, ladies. My first thought was, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get rid of this anxiety. Listen to me, this cancer, and I'm going to be okay. And so at first, I had a good mind. Then I had surgery. The surgery was successful, but what I went through after it was just so gruesome. I mean, the healing process was just wow. I needed a lot of care. And I couldn't take care of my family, and I couldn't shower for 2 weeks. I could barely move, and it was just very gruesome. And I didn't handle it well. I didn't have a good mindset. I didn't handle it well. And that fighting spirit just went out the window. I grew up with health anxiety. So that Pandora's box was just opened. At first, again, I had that fighting spirit, but then it was like, do I have what it takes to handle this? Can I really do this? It was really hard. But I did. I didn't do it very well. But sitting here now, looking back, if I had to go through that again, like if my cancer ever came back, do I have what it takes? And the answer is absolutely. Do I want to go through that again? Absolutely not. But what it takes, yeah. I'll do what I got to do. And see, but the thing is, a lot of us, we don't want to hear those results. Like, we don't want to hear that there's anything wrong with us. Of course not. Who wants to be sick? But the thing is, ladies, sickness, I don't know anyone who could go through life without sickness, especially since stress is inevitable. And we are under stress so much more, I think, than even past generations. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. It's just that there was different stress. They did different stress. We just have a newer stress, a different kind of stress now, okay, that we're dealing with, all right? And with new stress, and with new things going on, it's just a different type of stress. Like, they had the flu back then, right? And then we had COVID. But the flu is actually worse than COVID, okay? But ever since COVID, guess what? Skyrocketing. Health anxiety. The numbers of health anxiety skyrocketed after COVID. People became so concerned about what was going to happen if I ever get that, if my family member ever gets that. What happens if I get sick? What happens? Because we saw what happened when people got COVID. So we lost so many people. Still not as much as those who got influenza, but that didn't happen to us. We lived through the period of COVID. So it affected us. And I think because of the stress that we're under, it's inevitable with stress. If it becomes chronic, and anxiety has gone up in numbers, okay? When stress becomes chronic and we're not dealing with it well, we're things like anxiety are going to take over. And when that happens, we're not taking care of ourselves, our well-being. We become more susceptible to illness, to sickness, okay? So practicing self-care, managing your stress, practicing self-care becomes necessary. And the thing is, we always want control, is what I said before, right? We always want control. But we don't always have control. You only have control of how you react. So, how can you react? By taking care of yourself. What can you control, ladies? There's so much awareness out there, and I push awareness all the time. Granted, I'm always talking about anxiety, but this is part of it. What are you doing? Because I'm also talking about stress. How are you dealing with the stress in your life? What are you doing to make sure that when you feel stressed, you're taking care of yourself? Because anxiety is there to tell you that something's off. You're not taking care of yourself. You need to slow down. You need to take control. When I say control, I don't mean of the situation, the stressful situation. I mean you need to take control of yourself, because that's all you have control of. What are you eating these days? Are you eating well? Now, I'm not saying you should feel guilty if you have a cookie or if you eat some ice cream. But what I'm saying is, if that's your diet, period, like you're eating more sugar than you are adding fruits and vegetables and protein, you can't expect to put unhealthy things in your body and to be healthy. You cannot expect to put unhealthy things in your body and to be healthy. Are you getting enough sleep? Now, I know this is a sore subject because, hey, with anxiety comes what? A lack of sleep. So you're going to say, Carla, this is a symptom of my anxiety. No, I'm not sleeping well. I've got anxiety. Okay, I totally get that, because that's what another thing that kept me so chronically insomniac, because I had health anxiety and I focused on all this lack of sleep. It's going to make me unhealthy. I'm going to die young because I didn't sleep well. And that kept me in fear. And every time I didn't sleep well, what is it doing to me? So I had to break that cycle. So in other words, ladies, insomnia and all these things are symptoms of anxiety. You need to take care of the anxiety and all those symptoms go away. When I understood that, when I took care of my anxiety, learned tools, techniques, the strategies to overcome anxiety, everything else fell into place. Do I still have times where I don't sleep well? Well, yeah. I don't question it, though. I don't worry about it. See, our worry, okay, our chronic worry leads to anxiety. When we start worrying about every little thing, what we're not doing, okay, is we're not trusting. So when you try to control everything and you lack trust, this is where you stay anxious, you stay insomniac, you stay depressed. So lifestyle means a lot, okay? Take control of what you can. You're eating, sleeping. Now, I understand. I want to sleep 7, 9 hours a night. I'm only getting 6 because of my anxiety, and you're telling me to control it. I can't control it. Now, the thing is, what you can control, okay, is the anxiety. Understand how to diffuse the anxiety, and you will sleep better. That's how you get in control of your sleep. By understanding the anxiety, by understanding The insomnia or the lack of sleep or whatever the poor sleep you're getting is just a symptom of the anxiety. Okay. Take care of the anxiety, the sleep will come. I promise you, because I know this from my own experience. I was sleeping well. Now, what got me back to maybe not sleeping well? Age, and I'm in menopause now. I'm officially in menopause. Yay, me. So I'm sleeping anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a night. Every once in a while, I get lucky and I'll sleep 7 hours, 7, maybe 8 hours. I don't think I even hit 8 a lot. But that seems to be my norm now, 4 to 6. And I just spoke to my gynecologist. I was just going there for my yearly PAP. And she's like, Carla, when you get older, really, there are a lot of people 5 hours every night. That's all they sleep. And that's all that's required. And I just saw a new study out there that did say, okay, of course, teenagers need the most sleep. Like the teen years is where you need the most sleep. As you get older, yeah, that 7 to 9 hours is great. That if you get that. But as you get older, they're actually saying you don't really need the sleep. I'm not saying you don't need any sleep. That's not what I'm saying. But like 7 to 9 hours is not as, that may not be you. Okay. I function very, very well on 4 to 6 hours. Like it doesn't even faze me. Anything less than that, I'm dragging my butt a little bit, but I do okay. So I hope understanding that you'll understand what I say by take control of your sleep, because there are things that you're doing that maybe you're not getting adequate sleep. And if your anxiety is the reason for you're not getting enough sleep, there are things you could do to fix that. And if you don't understand how, I have trainings on sleep that you can watch that can help you with that. Okay. And the other thing is exercise. Okay. Exercise. I can't say enough about exercise. And I don't want this to be about exercise because I can go on forever about exercise. Okay. Exercise, I've always said, is my antidepressant. Okay. So you want to take control of something in your life. Exercise is great because it changes your energy. When we're stressed, when we're anxious, okay, our neurotransmitters, our hormones are out of whack, ladies. They're out of whack. You want to put things better. You want to make things more aligned, I should say. Your central nervous system, the sympathetic, the parasympathetic, and you want to control those neurotransmitters. Way to do that. The best thing, oh gosh, is to get that lifestyle of eating well, sleeping well, and exercise. Okay. Those will give you the neurotransmitters that are going to help you to soak up all that anxious energy and have better levels, okay, of those neurotransmitters and those hormones. All right. Exercise is wonderful. And I have a live training on exercise that you can catch that will explain all of that. So what this boils down to is we like to control, but you got to take control of only what you can. And that is how you're reacting. We have fear of sickness, right? But what are you doing for your well-being? Are you taking care of yourself? Stress is the biggest cause of sickness. Are you taking care of your stress? When you have anxiety, that's a sign that something needs to change. Change your lifestyle. Change how you're reacting. Change how you're talking to yourself. Are you talking yourself into fear? Or are you talking words of empowerment and peace and calm? Be your own advocator, okay? So when your child and your spouse, your best friend, your loved one comes to you, okay, and tells you that they're stressed out and they think there's something wrong, how would you talk to them? How would you support them? Why are you not supporting yourself in the same way? We need to support ourselves. So that really is control. Take control of what you can. What you can't control, I give to God. I have developed a great relationship. I mean, it's not perfect. My faith is not perfect. I don't claim to have perfect faith, but the rest I give to God, okay? Or the higher power, whatever you call that higher power, that's where I give the rest. I've become very good at trusting and surrendering. The other piece of this is learning how to trust and surrender, because you can only control so much, right? But I mean, but ladies, I mean, I can't promise you. It's not like I'm saying, hey, you eat all the right foods, you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, and you always exercise, you'll never get sick. I'm not saying that either. There's no way I could promise you that, okay? I mean, sometimes, I mean, I know people who have great health. I never see them get sick and something has happened to them. So I don't have the answers there, okay? But I do know, okay, that believing in a higher power, and science backs this up. Science backs this up, okay? Believing in a higher power helps with your fears because you're giving it to God. Hey, Julie, you're late? No worries. You always know there's the replay. You always know there's a replay. So, we're just talking about the health anxiety, but I think you know that, and definitely catch the replay, okay? Said some good stuff. But I'm on the trust aspect of this. And ladies, stay with me because this is really important here. Because what you can't control, okay? You need to trust in something. You need to take those things that you can't control. What do you do with them? All right. I give them to God. In other words, I know that there is a power greater than I that is working in my life. And how I know that is because of evidence of things that happened to me, for me. Now, building trust. What is trust? Trust is really believing that you can handle whatever comes your way. Now, are we good at that? No. Because if we knew we can handle whatever came our way, we wouldn't have a problem, right? We wouldn't be living with worry and anxiety. We wouldn't worry about anything. I can handle it. It's all going to be good. No. We have issues with trust. We're not trusting ourselves, and we're not trusting God. Can you have faith without trust? Yeah. I mean, I don't have perfect faith, but am I always trusting God? Well, no. And I had to get good at it. Because when I didn't trust God, what was I doing? I was worrying, or I was living with great anxiety. So how did let's go with trusting yourself. How do you start understanding that you have what it takes? Okay. First of all, do you know how every Saturday I talk about wins? Every Saturday I post in this group, right? Report your wins. What are your wins? There's a reason for that. I want you to talk about your wins because we need to understand that not everything in our lives, okay, because we're so focused on what's going wrong in our life, we're not being focused on what's going right in our life. We make progress sometimes and we dismiss our progress. So we need to really focus on those wins. What went well in my life? What's going on in my life? We need to take those wins and let those wins help us build resilience, which is how we react to stress, how we hold up to stress, and confidence in ourselves, our self-esteem or our confidence. They're not quite the same thing. Our self-esteem is like how we think of ourselves, and our confidence is in as how we think of about our ability to cope, to deal, to handle. Okay, so we need to see that. We need to recognize those wins, that we're making progress. We need to build that confidence because then we can say to ourselves, hey, you can cope, you can deal because you already have. So every time we go through a sickness, okay, we tell ourselves, oh, I can't deal with sickness. I can't cope with sickness. I just can't. I don't have it. But haven't you been sick before? Haven't you ever had an illness before? Did you not cope with it? I think you have. Now, maybe you didn't cope with it well. Maybe you felt a lot of anxiety. I get it. I get it because that's what you're going to tell me. But I was very anxious and I didn't sleep and I get it. But did you survive? Did you make it through? What can you do different? What evidence is there that you cannot cope? Just because you had anxiety doesn't mean you can't cope. You did cope. You just had a lot of fear. How can you change that next time? What can you do differently? Is this all making sense, ladies? Can you put a 1 in the chat, or can you say, yes, it makes sense? Tell me yes, give me a 1. Let me know that this is making sense, that you see that how this can help you. So to build trust, recognize your wins, recognize the progress you made and let that build resilience and confidence. Thank you for that, Kathleen and Terry. Thank you. And the thing is, when you have goals, okay, you might have a goal, especially with the new year. Your goal was, I'm going to be healthy this year. I'm going to do a better lifestyle. I'm going to exercise and I'm going to eat better because that's what we do in the new year. But see, can you believe February is like what is February? Tomorrow. Isn't tomorrow February? Isn't that crazy how fast this is going? But I should say evidence. Science says that by February, a lot of our resolutions go out the door. We made so many promises to ourselves January 1st that by February 1st, we're already over it. We're already over it. But if you can make goals, okay, and you can do things a chunk at a time, okay, like a little bit at a time, a baby step. See, we get overwhelmed because we tell ourselves we're going to take care of ourselves. We make these promises. And then we just get so overwhelmed. We say it doesn't work for us. And then we give up and we don't let it happen. We don't let any progress happen. But what if you changed the way you made your goals and you did things one step at a time and you let progress happen? This is how we build trust because this is how you see that you can do it. So part of building trust too is just being mindful, living in the present time. What can I do in my present time? Um, and practice gratitude. Focus on the good in your life. Look purposefully for that good in your life. Because as I said before, when we're anxious, we're negative, we just stay focused on that negativity. But we got to get really good at catching ourselves doing that and bringing our attention back to the present and saying, okay, what is there in my present time that's going well? Even if things are not going so well, there's always something good for you to find to focus on. Okay. Get good at expressing thanks for those blessings in your life. When you see the progress you make, making these changes, you can start trusting in yourself because you see that you're handling things. Is that making sense, ladies? Now, the other thing is to build your relationship, engage in prayer, meditation, and build your spiritual practice, because I believe in a higher power. I give it to God. But maybe you're going to say, I do believe in God, but Carla, I pray to him all the time and he's not listening, or he's not answering me because I've been praying for years. And guess what? I'm still anxious. I still have this health anxiety. I'm still getting sick, right? Now, it's not that he's not answering. It's not that he's not listening. He's not answering. But ladies, how are you praying? My prayers have changed over the years because instead of begging God, God, where are you? I'm in pain. Are you listening? When are you going to take this from me? Please, please, please deliver me. God, please. Do you know how I'm suffering? I can't, I need this. I mean, I need you, and I can't do this on my own. But when is this going to happen? I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything. Like, what are you saying with God? But what if, okay, you trusted? Like, God says he's always with you. God says you can trust him. He is always with you. And those who trust live in perfect peace. Okay? What if instead you prayed and said, God, thank you for this new day. Thank you. I'm a new creation. The old has passed away. Thank you for this. Trying to think of the things that I say. Like, thank you. This is the day the good Lord has given me. And I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it, because that's what God tells us to do, to rejoice always. Whether we go through whatever trials we go through, we should always rejoice, because who is with us? Who's beside us? When you're trusting, you know that. You know he's there. But like when you're praying, God, please, God, please, God, please, and then you continue with the worry and the anxiety, that's like saying, I know you're there, God. And that's why I'm praying to you, because I know you're there. And I know I could talk to you. But then when you continue to worry, that's like saying, but I don't really think you're going to answer me and give me what I'm asking for. I don't really know if you're going to deliver me or if you can. Remember the story in the Bible about the woman who was bleeding for so many years. She just told herself, all I have to do is touch Jesus's what do they call it? The cloak, his cloak. If I could just touch it, I'm going to be healed. And she did. Jesus felt the power go from him. He turned around and said, who touched me? And she said, it was I. And she says, well, he told her, your faith is what's going to heal you. Your faith. She believed, if I just touch him, I'm going to be healed. Are you believing that? that just praying and giving it to God, He's going to deliver you. He's going to heal you as you trust in Him. If you're going to pray and just live in constant fear, you're not trusting who's really in control. You're trying to take control. Are you going to put your trust in man or in God? You want to trust in God to build trust. Read scripture. Scripture will tell you God's words, what God says, what his promises are. He says in the Bible, literally, to pray consistently, to pray and give thanks and rejoice always in the Lord. Are you doing that? We need to surrender our control. We need to trust and to surrender. If we're not doing that, we're not going to feel that peace that surpasses all understanding. And what's also going to help you trust in God, can you reflect on something from the past where you know God worked in your life? Can you think of somewhere else in your life where you know God helped you and you were like, yep, that was you, God. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, God. If God helped you then, why won't he help you now? What keeps you from trusting in God? When we don't trust, we become we try to control everything and we try to take over and think that if I talk to everybody and I search it all out, I'll find the answer. And we have this indecision in our lives. We'll feel anxious. We'll have low self-esteem. And what we do is we become dependent on other people because we need other people to make ourselves feel better, to have confirmation about who we are, what we are. But what we are children of God. Health and wholeness are our birthright. Peace is our birthright. Claim that in Jesus' name. The thing is, too, are you listening to your gut, your intuition? I mean, to have trust in yourself. Sometimes, like, listen to your intuition. Now, when something comes from your intuition, it feels good. You feel calm about it. You know, sometimes things come in our minds and we're thinking, you know, what's that? What's that thought that came into my mind? If it feels good, it's probably from God. If it feels right, if it brings you, you're calm, it brings you peace, it's probably something that you want to go on. Go with that gut feeling. If you're feeling something in your gut that's fearful, brings you anxiety, you know, and the thoughts are from the past and it make you anxious, or the future and it brings you anxiety, probably not something that's coming from God. Okay. So listen to your gut, your intuition, look to the past. I don't want you to live in the past, but look to the past for that evidence of, as I said before, when did God help me? Or when did I do something that I listened to my intuition? I got results. You need to learn to trust in yourself. Okay. So listen to that intuition, look for evidence of it in the past where you did and you got what you wanted, you got the results. You were able to handle all that you went through. And the other thing is, You know, mistakes are something that's going to happen. We're human beings, and you got to give yourself grace. Okay? Human beings make mistakes, all right? Give yourself grace and use those mistakes as a stepping stone. And the only other thing that I can say to build trust that I can think of is like sometimes we don't feel worthy. I'm not worthy of this. But you are a child of God. You were put on this planet, okay? Like if you were not worthy, you would not be born, okay? You deserve goodness in your life. Claim that. What tells you you don't deserve goodness in your life? So, taking control of what you can, giving what you can to God, and trusting in yourself, your abilities, and who's in control. All of these things are going to help you with health anxiety, because health anxiety is when you're not trusting yourself and what you're feeling. You're not trusting in what the doctors are telling you. You don't know where to put your trust. You have a fear of the unknown. The best antidote to the fear of the unknown, the fear of death even, is to have trust. Trust in who's in control. Trust in where you are going. You were given a life, okay? We know that we're all going to die someday. An acceptance of the fact that you're dying from the time that you're born. Okay? You have a birthday and a death day. That dash in between is up to you, ladies. You are in control of how you react to whatever life brings your way. I'm not saying you're in control of everything that happens to you in life, because a lot of things are out of your control. Your things are going to happen you have no control over, but you have control on how you react. I read a book called What Happy People Know by Dan Baker, and it's a read that I suggest for all of you. It's what helped me a lot change my attitude about being sick, being, and stop trying to control everything and only take control of what I do have. When I get up in the morning, if my day already isn't going well, if I had a bad night, or if I have something that's I'm about to experience in my day that I'm not looking forward to, my conversation just kind of goes, well, Carla, you know who's in control. And thank you, God, that you're with me in every step of the way, that you're by my side. You step out before me. You pave the way. You give me everything I need. I am equipped to handle this. I am a child of God. And the one thing that I tell myself, especially, when my life changed and I turned 50, I was going through menopause, and I was, got a new job, and I was going through menopause, and, and I was wondering where my life is going. I tell myself, if I trust God in everything, if I trust in God, everything that is right for me and good for me is going to happen. And I've been living by that. And I have to say, my life is better now than it ever has been. So, ladies, health anxiety, The way to overcome it is to let go of control what you can, give the rest to God, build trust in yourself, in your capability. Stop telling yourself, I can't cope, I can't deal, I can't handle. Things are going to happen. Change your lifestyle, take control of what you put into your body. Don't think you're going to create a healthy body having a bad diet, getting poor sleep every single night and not taking control of how to sleep better, and not exercising, living a sedentary life. You know, and even if you do get sick, what do you have control over? Well, if you do get sick, I go to the doctor. What does the doctor say? Did the doctor put me on medication? Is this medication going to make me better? Thank you, God, for this medication, because without this medication, I don't know if I could have gotten better. And sometimes it's a virus, and a virus, well, there's not many medications for viruses because viruses just have to run their course. But remember who's in control. Ladies, you're going to live, you're going to die, okay? If you live, trust that God is going to give you everything that you need to live throughout that day. And if today is the day you're going to die, you're going to be with God in heaven. And if you're a believer like me, that ain't such a bad thing. What are you going to trust? Ladies, were there anybody that's on with me have any questions about anything I said? I know some of you came on late. You may not have heard everything that I said. So please rewatch this live. I said a lot. I can't believe I'm way over an hour. Actually, why am I saying that? I have been going over an hour because, ladies, I give it all to you. I mean, like, I don't hold back. I'm just like rereading some of the comments, and Jazzy, now I just don't go mostly because I know it's just anxiety. Another part is because I'm scared. Okay. Well, I talked about that in the live. As long as you know your symptoms are anxiety, just, diffuse the anxiety and the symptoms should go away. But if symptoms persist and you're really doubting whether it's anxiety, please go to the doctor and get it checked. Never ignore symptoms. Never, never, never. Okay. Kathleen, it's hitting the nail on the head. I think that's why the root of all my health is thinking I'm not going to be able to handle this. Yeah. If something happens to someone I love, I get so anxious every time. Yeah. You know what? The thing is, Kathleen, unfortunately, like I said, we need to face that reality that we all get sick and we are going to lose the people that we love throughout life. And the more we resist that and tell ourselves we can't handle that, the more pain we're going to be in, for sure. I have a friend who's 64 and has never thrown up. She's petrified of it happening someday. That's a real fear. I am hearing more and more people say they have a fear of throwing up. I only know one, but I mean, I know personally one person who has a fear of throwing up. And that came about after she witnessed the death of her grandmother. She was present when her grandmother passed away. And ever since then, she can't handle throwing up. I don't know. It's kind of an association type of thing. Now, I don't know your friend's situation, of course, but like sometimes, we just make associations. Like we put our focus on things because throwing up is a sign of sickness. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but sometimes things like that happen. But that's very strange for me to hear. It's not strange. I shouldn't use the word strange, but it's becoming more common is actually a better word to use. More and more people are talking about that they can't handle throwing up. It petrifies them. And I can't say I relate. I mean, I haven't thrown up since, right after my surgery when I was 31. My son was in nursery school and he came home with a bug virus, a bug flu type of thing, and throw ups. Everyone started throwing up and they were trying to protect me because, I just had major surgery. But yes, I did get it and I did throw up. I threw up once and it never happened again. I haven't thrown up, knock on wood, since I'm 31 years old, and I'm going to be 55 in a month. So, but I don't have a fear of it. I don't like it, but I don't have a fear of it. So, ladies, if there are no questions about anything that I said, I'm just going to, get off the live. I think I've been talking for way too long. But, for anybody who's watching the replay, if there's any questions, any comments, please let me know. Put it in the comments, message me anytime, or, contact me and, let's work together to change the mindset, change how you're reacting in life towards stress, how to diffuse the anxiety so that you can get better results. Health anxiety is just another form of anxiety, and and a lot of us have that fear of the unknown, of death. And when we can face our fears and take control of what we can, put our trust elsewhere, we can get great results. Great results. Ladies, be well, take care, and I'll see you next time. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye.